Hey guys, we're back for our last video of the week and we're going to be talking about square roots, okay? So you recognize this from our last video. This says x squared is equal to 36, and this is saying what times what that's the same number is 36, okay? So we would be solving for x, and we know if we're thinking to ourselves, well, what times what that's the same number is equal to 36, we know that this is 6, okay? Another way to solve this problem is to find the square root of x. Okay, so there's actually another way we can solve this, and we're going to be using, it's called a radical symbol, okay? So when we talk about the square root of a given number, which when multiplied by itself equals the given number. So what this is saying is every positive number has two square roots. A square root of a negative number is undefined or no solution, meaning at this pre-algebra stage, we're going to just say it's undefined, no solution, okay? So let me show you what this means. So these symbols down here in our together questions, that is the square root symbol, which is a radical symbol, which you'll learn about in Algebra 1, okay? So when we take the square root of a number, we're talking about, well, what did it look like before, right? What number was squared to get this bigger number? So we have to think, well, what times what would give us 44, but it's the same number. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys how to solve these on a calculator. Okay, so we have the square root of 144. So I typed that into my calculator and it says 12. Well, we know 12 times 12 is 144. But seeing that this rule says every positive number has two square roots, so we know that the answer is 12. Okay, but that rule says there's two square roots. This is one number. But think about it. 12 times 12, when they're both positive, is 144. But if we do negative 12 times negative 12, we get 144 that's positive as well, because a negative and a negative make a positive. So anytime there's a positive number under a square root, you add the plus and minus sign. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We have the square root of negative 25. Well, we know this is not a positive number, so we're not going to have the plus and minus sign. Okay, we know that this, what times what would give us 25. We would know with the square root of 25, when it's positive, would be 5. But we have a negative 25. So when I type the square root of negative 25 in my calculator, it says domain error. Well, that's because the square root of a negative number is undefined or no solution. So you either write undefined or no solution. And no solution symbol is just a 0 with a slash through it. So you could either write undefined or you could just draw the symbol. Okay? The square root of 64. I know this is a positive number, so I'm going to have plus and minus. Okay? And then when I type the square root of 64 in, I get 8. So I know it's plus and minus 8, and I know that 8 times 8 is 64. So you're thinking, what times what would give me this number? And that's going to be your answer. Okay, but if it's positive, you have the plus and minus. So what times what equals 100? We know that that would be 10, right? And we know that it's a positive number under there, so we add the plus and minus. You can even check in the calculator, the square root of 100 is 10. Okay, we have the square root of negative 1. We have a negative number, and this rule says when we take the square root of a negative number, it's undefined, or you can write no solution. Okay, last one, the square root of 9. It's a positive number, so I know I have the plus and the minus. It's very important that you guys get used to writing plus and minus, okay? So, what times what would give us 9? It's the same number, because we're dealing with squares and square root. It'd be 3. So the answer to this one, you can check it on the calculator, the square root of 9 is 3. Okay, and it's a positive number, so we add the plus and minus. Okay, remember, you can pause the video, watch it as many times as you need, and shoot me an email with any questions you may have. Okay, there it is one last time. You guys have a great day.